I think we're about to get going here. So, anyone who doesn't know anything about this game, we start off fairly active. We are going to push the game a little bit in our favour by utilising the equipment glitch. You can only use this on the PSP version of the game, and basically it means that we can just kind of enter two menus at once and get ourselves some equipment we shouldn't have until a lot later in the game. So the first one that people are going to get is the Knight's Armour, which we shouldn't have for like another half hour of the game. It's just some pretty tough armour, stops us from dying in one hit, you know? And what we are doing here to get ourselves the equipment is there are two... Okay, right, I'm really bad at explaining this, bear with me. You'd think I'd learn, but I haven't. Okay, so we've got two sets of equipment. We've got the weapons and we've got the armour. So each one of those has an ID number. So say we have bought ourselves a hammer here, which has the ID number of 1. And that is equivalent to the armour ID number of 1, which happens to be the Knight's Armour. So if we enter into two menus at the same time, enter from the weapons menu into the armour menu on the adjacent character, then we can confuse the game into giving us the wrong one of the corresponding ID number. Or something along those lines. Alternatively, just call it magic. And yeah, I've taken so long explaining that we're already at the next equipment glitch menu. So what we're going to be getting here are some judgment staffs. They are pretty powerful magic staffs in their own right, and also if you use them as an item, then you can cast flare with them, which is one of the most powerful abilities in the game. So yep, we're starting off strong here. So what the guys have done here already is we set off from Cornelia Town, which is where we start the game. There's a dude called Garland who has an incredibly intimidating flowery name, who has kidnapped Princess Sarah, and we are going to go head off and rescue Princess Sarah. So that's what we're doing here. That's about the most important story part of the entire game, so yeah, don't worry about that too much. But basically, we use the judgment staffs here because they're easy to get and they do a bit more damage than the knives and, you know, equivalent rubbish staffs that we would have otherwise. So we can kill them in 4 hits or less, rather than just being there for like 5 minutes, just wailing away at him with our shit weapons. So Yoshi's off to a pretty good start there. Crrool, not so great, but not too far behind. Now the main thing that should set these two runners apart at this stage in the tournament is just pure RNG. You can't control when you get random encounters in this game. You know, there's no step routing. It is just pure walking along and hoping the game does not mess you up too much. So you can get a massive difference. You can get about a 10-minute difference in this game just purely from what encounters you get. And, of course, they can also murder you if you get some bad ones, so there will be a couple of safety saves during this run. But yeah, both these runners now good enough that we should be seeing some kind of equivalently fast gameplay, good menus, good choices. Always make good choices, people. The fact that Crrool uses an older route. Ah, that is a good point, good point. Crrool, for some reason only known to him, has never updated his route from the route that we used about 2 or 3 years ago. In fact, the reason only known to him is actually known to the rest of us because he keeps winning goddamn tournaments anyway, despite not having updated his routes. He is favoured by RNG. I think he possibly bribed RNGesus at some point at the beginning of his speedrunning career. But yep, Crrool will be using 4 of an extremely powerful weapon rather than swapping between some slightly faster weapons and using slightly faster spells, etc. And he will just be relying on good RNG. Whereas Yoshi, I believe, is using the Black Mage route. We will have to find out in a minute. I say a minute, in about 20 minutes. Makes this entire championship worthless. Well, That is a very strong opinion that you have there, my friend. Maybe we just like gambling here at Total Chaos. After all, there are plenty of people who just play poker. But yeah, definitely makes it very exciting to watch. Because at any point, either of these two can be screwed out at 5 minutes. So both of them about neck to neck at the moment, heading over to Provoker, where we are going to be trying to get ourselves a boat. Yeah, Yoshi doing the Black Mage route here, I think, so we're going to do some early menuing here, get rid of that longsword that you got as a rare drop from Garland, which can totally mess up your equipment menus. Crrool having a bit of trouble here with some encounters. And this gives me the first use of the judgment stuff that you see here. We're going to be using it with 3 of our characters to get the best chance of getting an attack off before the pirates, who are fairly quick. But yeah, makes very quick work of what should be a boss battle there. Yeah, that's an excellent point. Yoshi also gets some good RNG, kind of just weird RNG. I believe he's on his 4th Iron Golems encounter of the tournament, which is just insane because that's probably the rarest encounter that you can run into, and he keeps seeing them. They just love him. YoshiKyons, yeah. Are they the same as war mechs? Well, personally, I've had several war mechs and never had Iron Golems, so I think they are actually a bit rarer than war mechs. So technically, there is more surface area that you can get Iron Golems on than war mechs, so maybe I've just been unlucky. Yeah, they're both 1 in 64. It's just that there's a slightly longer route that you can get the Iron Golems on. So I'm not sure how hard these guys are going to be trying to go, whether we're going to be missing out on gold needles here. I don't think either of them bought them there, but they might have bought them in Provoker that I missed there. Gold needles are an item that cures, not paralysis, that's the other one, petrification, that's the one. Petrification basically functions as a KO in this game. If you get hit by, usually the ones that will kill us with it on this run are... they're not pyralisks. Wow, I'm doing great here. Bird things, flying bird things. You know, as opposed to the non-flying bird things. I'll get back to that when they turn up, because I will remember what they're called by then. Cockatrices! Thank you, chat. You've saved my bacon. Yep, they will inflict petrification, and if your whole party gets petrified, it's game over. So we will be seeing either a gold needles use, definitely some safety saves to avoid that, because there's not much you can do about it once it's already happening. Yoshi already making their way into Marsh Cave, which is the first dungeon that we're going to get into, but probably the easiest by far, because you can get through the whole thing without any encounters whatsoever, which is absolutely god tier. Every runner hopes for that. Makes you feel great, makes you have a good start to your run, so that you can just kind of be off guard when you get completely messed over in Ice Cavern later. Nobody does the puzzle. No puzzles here. I'm not even going to explain the puzzle because the puzzle should not be part of this speedrun. Yoshi making quick work of the Pisca demons there. Again, we just flare them, and they go down pretty quickly, as long as they don't get first turn, in which case they can actually do some damage. Not quite so lucky on his way out, unfortunately. Crrool with the poison there. Poison does 1 damage per step, or does a little bit more when you're actually in battle, and he's having a bit of trouble running there. But I believe we have already bought some antidotes, so he'll just heal that up quickly, because at this point, we don't want to be losing too much health. Yeah, this isn't the best start Crrool's ever had, I don't think. Yoshi making the way downtown, walking fast to go and see Astos. So the first part of this game, anyone who has not witnessed it before, is one very long fetch quest. So we just went and picked up the crown from the caves there. That was in a box, and that's the first one we're going to find that's just hanging around in a box. And we take that to Astos, who we believe is the righteous elf king, and then he turns into a dark elf king. So of course we have to kill him. Again, this time we're doing a combination of attacks, because we've got a bit of a higher level now to do a little bit more damage, and also using the judgment stuff with our mages who've got the highest intelligence stat, and hoping for a high roll on the white mage, which we just got. Yeah, anyone worrying that Crrool is getting behind, don't worry, because as I mentioned, this game has enough RNG for everyone. It's entirely possible that Yoshi can run into some absolutely terrible encounters in the very near future. Getting fooled by Crrool's timer there, which is already in world record colours, so enjoy that. Perpetual PB going on in Crrool's timer. Yoshi making his way back past Elfheim, and yep, he's going to head in for those gold needles. I think? No, he's doing the mage route. So he is going to head in for some spells. My bad, sorry. Still learning the Black Mage route. And gold needles. Perfect. Right, so those spells he's going to use to make short work of some unrunnable encounters and some fairly difficult to run encounters. So usually it can be quite a lot faster to just kill the encounter rather than take the risk of all your characters not being able to run away. Crrool will not be preparing for that eventuality. He has the Judgment Staff and the swords, and I believe that is all he's going to be using. So he will just be hoping that he can run away as quickly as possible and that he will not get too many unrunnable encounters. Yoshi, on the other hand, will be using his Black Mage as a kind of fail-safe for if he gets bad RNG. Yes, I was second last year. I actually have beef with both of these runners if we're going to go into personal commentator beef. So I'm an unbiased commentator today because I'm biased against both of them. Yoshi knocked me out of the tournament this year, and Crrool beat me last year. So both of them are rubbish, and we hope that they both do badly. Nah, seriously, it's best for everyone if we get an amazing run tonight. Everybody loves watching amazing runs. Nobody loves watching the 134 come trickling in at the back. Both runners are now heading up to the... Why am I forgetting everyone's name today? Matoya's Cave. Matoya's Cave. I'm always salty. Anyone who's ever run this game is salty about this game. Matoya's Cave. Matoya, who does not have her own eyeballs, prefers to rely on crystal ones that can get nicked by evil elves. As you can see, she's got her eyes closed and is wondering why she can't see. And both runners just caught up there, so yep. Not quite neck and neck, but Crrool definitely saved some time there. We give her back her eyeball, and she gives us the Jolt Tonic. So, fetch quest continues. Yeah, no one's entirely sure how Matoya's eyes work. I think that she just uses her magical eyeball to see, and no one's taught her that her actual eyes can also see. Maybe she was just brought up in a really dark place, so she learnt to see using the magic eyeball, and she really just needs a helping hand. She needs someone to reach out to her and say, look, if you lift your eyelids, the world becomes light. And then she'd live such a better life. I don't know. Honestly, when you run this game or play this game, you never really think too much about the story. It's just you start realizing you've done too much commentary when you start thinking about the weird fetch quests of FF1. So Yoshi making the way up into Elfheim Castle, where we're going to be using that Jolt Tonic that we just got. Neither of them getting terribly stuck on that C segment. That's always a fun segment on your timer, because it can take about 45 seconds, or if you get some really nasty Sahagin encounters, it can take 2-3 minutes. Yeah, my favourite bit about the story and the fetch quests in this game is the loot right at the beginning that Sarah gives you. You can just completely ignore that in the early versions of the game. Just skip it entirely, and then get to the final dungeon and not be able to unlock it. So, this is one of the more important equipment glitch menus that we are going to be doing, because now we're going to be able to run away from things, which is lovely, because that's the entire game. The Thieves' Armlet's here that we are going to glitch from the Mithril Hammer that we just picked up from a chest that the Elf Prince just let us into. The Thieves' Armlet gives us, I want to say 5 agility, something agility. It gives us agility, and we're putting it in 3 of our armor slots. We're not putting it in the 4th armor slot, and you will see that for the rest of the run, because if you put some things in the shield slot, there is an animation for blocking that goes with the item that you've got in your shield slot. So if you put something in the shield slot that's not meant to be there, and the game doesn't have an animation that it can attach to it, the game gets very confused, hard locks, your run is over. So we don't take that risk. You can get through the whole game without seeing very many blocks, but if you do, then, game over. I believe Crrool just headed in for some gold needles as well. Both these runners being safer rather than sorry. If you're trying to do a PB run, then you would skip that and just hope that you don't get any petrifications. However, every time, if you ever do that in a race, you can absolutely guarantee that you will get petrified. Murphy's Law. Anything you skip, any safety saves you skip, any safety items you skip, it will come back and bite you in the bum. Yoshi, again, a little bit ahead. I'm not actually sure how that one happened. He is going to be unlocking the rest of the world map here by, well, this little dwarf guy that you can see on the right. It's called Nerek. Nerek has a secret that he has never told his wife. Not only is he a bit of a pyromaniac, he also really likes avalanches. And we're a terrible enabler, and therefore we've just given him some nitro powder, which he's going to use to blow a hole in the world map. Because we don't care about global warming, we just want to get out so that we can stop doing this goddamn fetch quest for these stupid, annoying people. Well, nobody told the Warriors of Light because they just headed off, directly into the distance, didn't care about the consequences of their actions. They had a world to save. Is that Nerek was arrested for his actions and spent the rest of his life in prison, while his wife and his children starved because their only breadwinner was rotting away in prison. Meanwhile, the Warriors of Light just go on saving the world, thinking that they are good people. So, here we go. Next equipment glitch menu. Yoshi is going to be making himself some Barbarian Sword. Not as many Barbarian Swords as Crrool will be doing, but he's making 2 Barbarian Swords there for his main damage dealers, who are the Thief and the Warrior. And that is going to make the next half of the game very easy. All boss battles just going to go down in 1 or 2 hits. The Barbarian Sword, for anybody who doesn't know, is by far the most powerful sword in the game. It's only in this remake of Final Fantasy. It's supposed to be a special reward for beating the hardest version of the hardest super boss in the hardest optional dungeon. However, we're just gonna glitch it because that's how we do. It's, I think, 3 times more powerful than the second most powerful sword. I'm not sure why you would want it after beating the hardest super boss in the game. Like, what could you use it for? You've already killed everything. But that's a question for another time. Yoshi already on floor 3. Wow, that was a quick 2 floors. And doing that safety save because there aren't any terribly dangerous enemies on this floor, other than the cockatrices that we mentioned earlier. But there are some annoying ones, such as these guys who just ambushed us. However, this being the Black Mage route, we can take care of them with a quick firer. You can run away from these guys, however, as they paralyze you with a hit, if they ambush you, they can paralock your team. Paralysis, for anyone who doesn't know, not like petrification, not a KO, however, can waste a lot of time if literally everybody in your party gets paralyzed and you can't move and you can't do anything, and there's just a chance every turn that you can possibly get out of it. But you can also just stay there for about 20 turns, just waiting. So yeah, here is our first example of the Barbarian Sword in action. That was a boss battle, people. Yep. Good boss battle. Yeah, as Mike has just told us, one of the biggest dangers of this run is just forgetting to pick things up after boss battles. So after the vampire there, just ahead, couple of squares, you have the Star Ruby, which you can't get to the next area without. However, it's very easy to forget. And you only know that you've forgotten it when you get to the next cave and there's a big giant blocking your way saying, I'm hungry. Crrool, really not having the easiest time here trying to get through the Cavern of Earth. No, he is correct. You do get vampires as random enemies later. There's a weird thing in the coding of the game as well, that because it was a boss battle at this point, and boss battles are unrunnable, if you encounter one vampire on its own, it's coded in the game as a boss battle, so you can't run from it. So that's a weird little thing to bear in mind as a runner, that if you just encounter one of them, even though it should be easier to run from, you won't be able to run. Actually the same with Pisca Demons. That's why you also can't run from them, because they are also coded as a boss battle from the spike tile in the Marsh Cave. And they turn up all over the place. They're really annoying. So Yoshi did pick up the Star Ruby. So we are not going to see the classic giant block here. We just feed a giant. What the Warriors of Light don't know is that the Star Ruby that we picked up was a really bad quality Star Ruby. And this giant is going off, and we think that it's because he's happy, but it's actually because his stomach has started churning, and he's feeling really sick. And the Warriors of Light go on their merry way, thinking that they're saving the world. But actually, the giant spends the next 4 days with food poisoning. So yeah, Yoshi just picked up the Earth Rod. The Earth Rod is classic Final Fantasy fetch quest. You get to the 3rd floor of the Earth Cave, and if you went a little bit further than these guys have gone, there's just a little plaque on the floor that says basically, you can't get past me without the power of the Earth Rod. So you have to go all the way out of those 3 floors, go get the Earth Rod, come all the way back, go all the way down those 3 floors, just for a pointless fetch quest. Very irritating. And you can only get that Earth Rod after you kill the vampire. So it's not like you can do that in advance. What was the giant doing with the Nerf Rod? Wait, are we saying that the old man in the cave is the giant in disguise? It could be, maybe so. Oh dear, that's unlucky. Yoshi's Warrior just went down to a crit from one of the snakes. Don't think I've ever seen a snake kill anyone before, that's impressive. But that gives me an easy opportunity to talk about something that both the runners are doing in the background here that you might not have noticed. They are both making sure not to heal their warrior and their thief past 70 health. So Yoshi there, despite having the opportunity to heal everyone to full, only used 1 potion, which is actually slower because you don't mash X to skip the animation. But it's very important because we are going to need to kill the warrior and the thief in the near future for grinding purposes. Yeah, I am not going to tackle that that interpretation of what the anacondas in the Cavern of Earth want or have, or all I can say is that that's just made them much more entertaining. And Crrool, bless him, is getting absolutely wrecked by encounters here, while Yoshi presses on the 4th floor. She's got some Biscuit Demons, which he'll finish off with a quick Thunder. That is the bonus of the Black Mage route here. All other routes would there use the Judgment Staff, as it would be the only thing that could do the right amount of damage. But if you get yourself a Thundara there, it's about a 4-second save on time for the casting time. Oh, and he chose not to kill those wraiths though, which is a bit dangerous because these guys are pretty hard to flee from. Very important safety save here for Yoshi, because he is about to fight Lich, who is the first of the 4 fiends, and also for us the most dangerous. We are very underleveled here. As you may have noticed, everyone's got about 100 health, and Lich can do an AoE called Blizzara that does about 150 damage to the entire party. That is why we safety save. I have seen runners doing this before. Okay, Yoshi's just got a perfect run there, so don't mind anything I was about to say. Shinbreaker 7 very famously got 5 wipes in a row during last year's tournament or the year before to Blizzara, losing him a good 4 minutes, which he was a little bit angry about. Crrool just trying to make his way through, I believe, the 4th floor? Oh, no, he's still on the 3rd floor. This is not lucky for the 3rd floor, that's a lot of wraiths. And as you can see, he is just trying to flee. Not doing any safety spells there. And a white ambush. Oh, jeez. Hopefully not gonna get the power lock here. Oh, that was... He is going hard for the trying to go as fast as possible. I probably would have used a Judgment Staff there with my White Mage. One good thing about this game is that there is a much higher probability of your Warrior and your Thief as the first 2 party members in your party of getting hit than your mages. Oh, we're in full power lock! Oh no! Okay, so Crrool now just has to sit here and hope that one of his party members breaks out of paralysis. This can be a potential massive loss of time, because there are still 8 undead here whacking him every turn. There we go. He's going to use that Judgment Staff, because he does not want to risk another turn of this. Phew. He got it off. Okay. So that was a time loss, but it wasn't a game over, so he's still in it. Oh, that was a mess. Meanwhile, Yoshi's going to be heading over to Crescent Lake, where he's going to be buying some more stuff. Do another equipment glitch menu. Just to prepare for what's probably the hardest dungeon in the game other than the final dungeon, because we're just still really underleveled for the point that we're at in the game. And there's a lot of dangerous things in there. Crrool is playing this very risky. Cockroaches are quite hard to run from, and as I mentioned, there is a chance with every attack that they can petrify one of your party members. So you only need 4 attacks to go through, and your game is over. Imagine he's just a little irritated right now. So Yoshi's buying some mithril gloves, and he will also be buying mithril axe. And from those, he is going to be glitching. What does he do with that mithril axe? Sage's stuff. That's the one. Nope, that's something else. I'm pretending I know things. This is the problem with having a commentator who's compulsively honest. I could pretend that I know things, but I'm not. I'm just going to say I don't know things. Oh, he does do Lust Dagger route. Okay, right. So he's going to give Lust Dagger to one of his mages here, which ups your agility and also does quite a decent bit of damage. For your black mage, Sage's staff is given to the white mage there. And also the black garbs give us a decent bit of agility on 3 of our characters, which we are going to need to be able to run from some of the stuff in the Cavern of Ice. Uh-oh. I don't think there was a safety save there on Lich. Okay. I can tell you that Crrool has forfeited the race. I'm not entirely sure why. I think he may have just got irritated with the bad RNG and decided to skip the race. It's an interesting decision because, as I've mentioned, 5 minutes, even less than 5 minutes, is definitely not something that's impossible to get back during this race because of bad RNG. Like, you can win or lose 5 minutes during Chaos Shrine on its own. But I think he just got a little bit too frustrated there and has decided that he is going to see how well he can do on race 3 instead, because this will make it 2-0 to Yoshi out of 5. So unfortunately that means that we've got a 1-man race now, but Yoshi still needs to get to the end to record himself a time so that he can win. And this is so far a very good run. It's very fast, so we'll see how well he can do. So yeah, as I mentioned, the Cavern of Ice is one of the hardest dungeons in this run, because there is a lot of dangerous creatures here. We've still got the Wraiths, who not only are difficult to run from, but can also paralock us. We've got several enemies that, if they ambush us, can one-shot us with an AoE. We've got a spike tile here that can often be a nice undead ambush. We've got Mind Flayers, who are a lovely creation, thank you game, who not only have an AoE attack that can paralyze us, but can also just cause death with 1 hit. No, he can't stop. Yoshi is not allowed to stop, he has to finish the run. the rules of the tournament. Even if your opponent forfeits, you have to finish your run to record a win. Besides, it's a really good run. So let's keep following the Yoshi. Oh! And you can tell Kip was not paying attention there because Kip just saw half the party die and went, "Oh, that is actually exactly what you want from that encounter." I did not realize we got to Evil Eye. So this is the grind spot that I mentioned earlier. That is why we wanted our warrior and our thief below 70 HP, because that is exactly what we wanted from Evil Eye, to do a Thunder Arrow on the party. And Race, the Black Mage here, which is an interesting name, has some really good HP already, actually. What we are trying to do here is get both of our mages to level 18. We eventually want them to be level 19, but we can make that up with some unrunnable encounters before we need to get to level 19. But there's a really nice spike tile here with Evil Eye on it. Evil Eye, who is A, quite easy to kill, and B, gives us some great EXP. So Yoshi just stopping there. Check his level, currently at 16. For anyone, by the way, who's thinking this is really boring, try doing it on GBA, where we have to get to level 31. And that should be us done. So we are reviving the Thief here because Thief has quite low HP as a class. His isn't too bad there, actually. But what we want is for him to get a few more levels so that he can have a bit of a head start on the warrior there. We don't care about the warrior. The warrior's just there as a meat shield, and you know, he's good at that. And just gotta make it safely out the way of the ice cavern. Yeah, I'm just making a reference to my very brief days of doing GBA. Yeah, there was no item equipment glitch either. No, you just have to suffer. GBA is kind of like this run, but with more suffering. Yeah, and Gold Needle finally going into effect there. So what we also did there on that spike tile is we picked up the Levy Stone, which again is another thing that you can forget and then get to the desert and go, oh, my bad. So we are taking that Levy Stone to the desert just below, which, by the way, I don't think there is any kind of written clues about where you'd have to take that to. You literally just have to go into a random cave, go all the way to the bottom of the cave, pick up a stone, and then just run around the world map until you find a convenient desert. So luckily we already know that. We will just be heading directly to the desert. FF1 writing, everybody! Yoshi is not getting the best runs out of here. Entirely possible and quite likely when you're in the canoe to get no encounters whatsoever on your way out of this little maze. And yep, the airship unlocks various points for us. We could go to Mount Gog via the canoe, actually, I believe. Bearing in mind, I have never played this game casually. When I started speedrunning this, I was like, okay, I'll play it casually before I speedrun it, because, you know, I don't want to ruin the plot for myself. I didn't actually manage to get out of Elfheim. I was too bored. It's a really good speedrun, so it's got that going for it. This is the Desert of Doom. Occasionally you go across this desert and you meet the lovely sandworm. Sandworm does a one-hit KO attack on the entire party. There's a chance it can miss. But, yeah. There's also a chance it can just wipe your party. Oh, that's an unlucky encounter. This is the... I want to say that, yeah, there's only 2 unrunnable encounters in the Citadel of Trials. This is one of them. Just a little bit of a slowdown that we don't want. Give us a bit of extra EXP though. And a free Great Axe to mess up your equipment glitches. Fabulous! And another Minotaur zombie encounter. Don't mind me. This is a really common encounter. You get it all the time. Yep, definitely. So the Citadel of Trials, for anyone who doesn't know, we have to go here to get the Rat's Tail as another little far-fetched fetch quest. Thanks, kid. I might have been watching too many Pokemon videos. The Rat's Tail we then take to Bahamut, however you say his name, the dragon, as of the rest of the series, and for that he will upgrade our classes. Citadel of Trials, like the Waterfall Cavern that we will encounter later, has a very high encounter rate, you may have noticed. And this dragon zombie is one of the main sources of that EXP jump from 18 to 19 levels that we get to stop grinding early in the Cavern of Ice for. Because that's a spike turtle that we have to kill to get out of the dungeon. So yeah, the Dragon Caves is a lovely bit of the world where there are no encounters. Oh, you can enjoy it for a very short time. But yeah, this is where we're going to find Bahamut, and we are going to upgrade our classes. I'm never entirely sure exactly everything that upgrading your classes to jobs does. I do know that it enables you to wear every piece of equipment in the game for warriors, and it enables us to get more spells for the mages who become wizards. Our thief also is able to wear more things. I think it upgrades our stats a little bit. Generally opens some doors for us. But yeah, it's worth doing early, and that is why we are doing it quite early. I believe the game probably recommends that you go do Mount Gog before you do the Cavern of Ice. That's why we... Oh, that is a nice unrunnable encounter that we got there. Hellhound and Ogre Mage. Only, in fact, unrunnable when you get the two together. What was I saying? Oh yeah, you can get to Mount Gog with the canoe, and therefore you can do it before you get yourself the airship. And you can only get to the Citadel Trials. No, you can get to the Citadel Trials with the canoe. Ignore me. Right. Yeah, basically, the world opens up a little bit, and we're kind of doing it in a more difficult order than you have to. But we're doing that because it is the fastest with the equipment glitch. Yep, we have upgraded our dead warrior. He is now wearing some more fabulous clothing, but still dead. Yeah, as I've been reminded by chat several times while commentating, it doesn't really matter what it actually does to the the usability of our characters. They look fabulous, so it's totally worth doing. White Mage takes her hood down. I mean, that is mind blowing. Little known fact: the White Mage was very shy, and she didn't think that she was all that. She knew that she was going to help save the world, but she thought she was just a healer. She was just backing people up. So she hid her face because she didn't think that she deserved to be recognized as one of the heroes of the world. And when she talked to Bahamut, he was very understanding about her problems, and he said, "You're wonderful, and without you, they wouldn't have got this far because they need you. They need your healing. They need your support. You're the person that they talk to when they've got problems." And she said, "Okay, I will show my face." And she pulls down her hood, and everyone gives her a round of applause. And that is a true story, my friends. Bahamut, Dragon Counselor Extraordinaire. Right, we are actually doing some gameplay right now. This is Mount Gog. Every lava tile that you stand on, you take 1 damage to your entire team. However, you don't get any encounters, which is why we are following the lava tiles, despite being meant to do the opposite, because you do still get encounters on the rock. However, the encounters that you do get on the rock tiles, I'm saying this despite the fact that we've safely got through the whole thing, there are some that can do AoE fire attacks. So when your entire party has 1 HP, you're risking game over. Oh, that's a nice 1 in 64 fire elemental encounter. I think it's another one of those things that it's something you don't really worry about if you're trying to do a PB or world record run, but it's something you have to think about in races. In a PB run, you would just run straight through. Also, that was a nice fire from Marilith there. I'm glad that we healed just before that. Maraneth, of course, goes down in a couple of hits because Barbarian Sword. Yeah, I generally go with the theory that you either safety save or you heal for bosses that you know do AoEs. It takes about the same amount of time, to be honest. By the way, anyone who was wondering, those little cutscenes that we get after killing the fiends, they are the unlocking of the optional dungeons, which are new to the 10th anniversary, which was the GBA, and the PSP root game remake, whatever. Yoshi here, just going to do some shopping. This is why we needed to be level 19. We are getting haste and Blizzara on our warrior, and I believe that was our ninja also managed to get haste there, which is great. Yeah, no optional dungeons. The thing, my commentary, if we go into the optional dungeons, will suddenly become, and oh, we're going in a place. Oh, there's some things. Oh wow, that's definitely a thing. Oh, okay, yep. So Yoshi also there got Healara for his White Mage, which he's not going to need until the very end of the game when it's going to be absolutely essential, which is the same for most of the spells that we're having to buy here. Classic Yellow Submarine miss-entry there. For some reason, the automatic response there, if you keep mashing X, which you are doing to skip the text, is a no. No, I don't want to get in the submarine that has no other purpose in this game other than to take me down to the next place that I need to be at. So you just have to do a little awkward bit of menuing there for no reason. So the Sunken Shrine, there are 3 unrunnable encounters here. 2 of them much more common than the other one. This is number 1. Thank you very much, game, for providing a nice visual aid there. The Sahagan Princes and Chiefs, who are weak to thunder and go down with the Thundara spell. And then the Ghosts! Thank you very much, game. Also, these guys are weak to fire, so they go down to a fire spell. This is the Black Mage showing why he's useful. Yeah, and then we just picked up the slab. That's the original translation of the Rosetta Stone. Anyone who doesn't know, the Rosetta Stone is an actual real-life object that they used to translate some ancient texts that they didn't know what the language meant. But yeah, we're going to use that to learn a language in 5 seconds. And we are going to go into one more equipment glitch here. So basically this is our last agility upgrade. I believe survival vests give us plus 15. I'm totally making up stats out of my butt here. We can put the survival vest on our shield slot though, which is nice because it has an animation attached to it. So if we block, we are not going to hard lock the game. So we will be putting survival vests on... we will not be putting survival vests on our shield slots because we'll be putting lordly robes on our white mage and our black mage because this is the black mage route, which Kib does not know very well. However, survival vests are such a great agility upgrade that they basically let us run away from everything. We're not going to be bothering to put them on the shield slot of the thief and warrior because in not a very long time we will be putting ribbons there. I will get back to that when we have ribbons. Yoshi there, choosing to swap early to physical attacks. Taking a guess that he's not going to have to do any more AoE magic because he's on the last floor, where we don't really see any unrunnable encounters. We can still see the water elementals, I believe. Just little things like that optimize the game, making your choice of when you are going to have to swap back and forth from physical, because obviously your in-battle menuing takes a little while. I do like how Crrool's stream is stopped with everyone with their arms up, like, we surrender! Take the RNG away! We don't want any more! So, the third of the fiends here is Kraken, who, unsurprisingly, is an octopus since we found him at the bottom of the sea. He's a total pushover. He basically can't do anything to us. His main attack that he does, his AoE attack, is Ink, which causes blindness, which, due to a weird glitch in the game, actually doesn't do anything. So, he basically can't hurt us, and we take him down in a couple of attacks. Thing is, what the Warriors of Light don't know is when they killed Kraken, his body disintegrated, obviously, because they chopped him up with barbarian swords, and he hadn't used his ink attack, so the ink hadn't dispersed. So what happened when they chopped up the body is that the ink flowed out into the water, and because Kraken was pretty big and he's like a pretty tough guy, he had a lot of ink in his body, and what happened is that after the Warriors of Light teleported out, slowly the ink dispersed into the water, and it was poisonous because, you know, he's not a very nice guy, and it poisoned everyone in the Sunken Shrine, including the mermaids. So the Warriors of Light continued on their merry way, thinking they were saving the world, but actually all the mermaids died. The Warriors of Light committed mermaid genocide. Mermicide! Anyway, back to the speedrun. We are now in the waterfall cavern, which has the highest encounter rate in the game and is just generally a pain. There's actually only one unrunnable encounter here, but it's still a massive pain because you will get 20 million encounters. Also, the nightmares are kind of hard to run from, so occasionally you'll just get trolled by those. So yeah, it's not a very big dungeon, and, you know, encounters aren't too tough. Probably everybody's least favourite because it's just really annoying. Yes, nightmares are angry unicorns, this is confirmed. They're actually just unicorns, but they're just called nightmares. Look at them, they're beautiful. And you will learn to hate them. Yeah, also we have full-on Egyptian mummies. Maybe they're after the Rosetta Stone? Who knows? Possibly. That was actually a spike tile, which is a Pyralisk spike tile. Pyralisks are kind of like cockatrices, big, angry, death-inflicting brothers. They're like cockatrices, but they inflict death. And they're pink. So they're kind of cool. We just talked to this robot, which has been sat there waiting for... what is it we give the robot? I want to say the warp cube, but we haven't got that yet. He gives us the warp cube. I've forgotten the damn fetch quest. Yeah, so we get the warp cube from the robot, and we also pick up a ribbon from the chest. Now, this is a weird bit of equipment glitching that we have to do here. As I've mentioned, we glitch things from things, but we don't actually use the thing itself. But we need 2 ribbons here, and we've only got 1. So what we have to do is glitch the ribbon into a Gigantax, which we don't need. But then we glitch back from the Gigantax, create another ribbon. And we're going to be using that for the Warrior and the Thief. Ribbons half your elemental damage and also prevent you from getting status effects. So they are pretty damn useful, which is why there's only 3 of them in the game. But we don't let things like, you know, limits that the game gives us balance out any of our cheating. So we have as many ribbons as we like. And now we're taking the Rosetta Stone to Dr. Un. And he's going to teach us Egyptian. Sorry, I mean Lufenian. Why do we need to learn Lufenian? Obviously, because we're going to Lufenia. That is our next stop on the road. Unfortunately, on the way to Lufenia, well, there's 2 things on the road to Lufenia. A, there's a really big, annoying forest. And there's only 1 little landing spot in the top left corner there. And B, there are Minotaur zombies. Do we remember them from the Citadel Trials? They are unrunnable. So you can get Minotaur zombies, I was about to say, in any combination with some other things, but no, we're just going to get 4 of them. But as long as there's 1 Minotaur zombie in whatever pack of stuff you get, you can't run from them. But they are weak to fire, so we just give them a little bit of a fire blast. So Lufenia is full of lovely priestesses. I say lovely because they didn't actually stand in Yoshi's way for once. These guys love to stand in the way and obviously look at you and then go, "Oh wow, me? Oh sorry, did you want me to move out the way for you? Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to inconvenience you." And then they take about, 20 seconds to apologise before they move. So speedrunners don't like them very much. I don't think the Allosaurus is that rare. I think it's you can get a T-Rexer there. I saw one of them once. He was very cool. Almost as cool as someone else that we might see later. But not quite. Because he's very cool. It's probably about average number of Minotaur zombies there. Could be worse. I've had 8 encounters of Minotaur zombies on the way to and from Lufenia. Always fun. But yeah, that makes a massive difference to your time for that split, obviously, because you can run away from things instantly otherwise. And we are just going to head across to this desert. And what you don't know is that you couldn't get into there without the thing that the Lufenian priests gave us at the time. So, yep. This is the Mirage Tower. I was going to say the Flying Fortress. That's the next bit. This has got quite a high encounter rate as well. Only one unrunnable. From here, kind of like it's usually only one unrunnable, which is usually a dragon, because why not? But every few steps you'll get another joyous encounter, and quite a lot of ambushes as well. I like unlifing. That's a good word. My favourite, of course, is in almost all Final Fantasy games, there will be some really difficult boss that you can kill just by throwing Phoenix down at it. And if you don't realise, you know, you'll just have this terrible boss fight that you struggle through the whole time. But otherwise, just yoink, Phoenix down, lol. This is a spike tile, blue dragon. So, kind of a boss. Goes down like all bosses do. And then we head up to the Flying Fortress. So the Flying Fortress is home to Tiamat, who is the 4th of the 4 fiends, and the last one we need before we unlock the final dungeon. However, it is also home to someone who is much cooler than Tiamat, really upstages Tiamat in every possible way, and that is the 1 in 64 encounter, Warmech, who's the precursor to cool mechanical bosses in the Final Fantasy series. And he is a very rare encounter that we will only find on floor 5. And he's very hype, he's very cool. Any runner who gets their run blessed by Warmech doesn't care if they win or lose, doesn't care if they get a PB, doesn't care about world record, because why does it matter when you get blessed by the Warmech? So hopefully Yoshi will be able to pull one of those out for us. To be honest, I think that you should only be allowed to have world records if you've got a Warmech in your run. And that is why I'm not on the speedrun.com board for FF1. Yeah, it's even more hype when you kill the Warmech, don't forget that one. Yep, so of course, don't forget, the Warmech is not only cool, he's also extremely formidable, and that is why Yoshi's healing and doing a safety save here. He has the nuke ability, which is like a super powerful flare on everybody that can wipe your party. Because, yeah, he likes to do that to innocent runners who are otherwise having a perfectly good run. No Warmech so far. There is a little tiny opportunity for a Warmech before he leaves, but for now we just get Tiamat. Tiamat, who can use Thunderbolt, which shouldn't kill the party. I haven't looked at the Black Mage's health for a while. Black Mage is pretty beefy, not too bad. Thunderbolt is no risk to the actual party because of the 2 ribbons that we've got on the Warrior and the Thief. But I was going to say our little mages aren't quite so beefy. I love that Yoshi's giving us... Yoshi, get back to your goddamn run! Stop worrying about the stream! White Mage is pretty beefy, actually. Also, she's got the... probably got about 8 levels on the warrior at the moment. Yeah, your knight will always be a little bit underleveled compared to your white mage because of the evil eye grind. This is a reminder to anyone who was wondering or silently asking or lurking. Yes, unfortunately, Crrool did have to forfeit about Lich because he was just having a terrible run and the game was just being incredibly mean to him. But this is a best of 5, and therefore this is only round 2, so he has got a chance to come back. This is actually a good chance to advertise tomorrow's match, which is round 3 between these guys. And it will be at the same time, so it will be starting at... Oh, let's do some maths. 4 p.m. EDT. I'm really good at time zones, honest. Yep. Please don't thrust me, I don't want to be thrusted. But yeah, come back for Crrool and Yoshi's 3rd match, which may be the be-all end-all, or possibly they will string this out to 5 whole matches that we can enjoy the tug of war going on between these guys. So, welcome to the Chaos Shrine, everybody. It's your favourite summer getaway, complete with water slide. Please say someone recognises that reference, or I just sound like I'm insane. Chaos Shrine, hardest dungeon in the game, because it's the final dungeon. It's got all the unrunnables that you could ever ask for, which Yoshi is not doing a very good job of what word am I after? Being an example of. Because he's just got through the whole of floors 1 to 3 with no encounters whatsoever, which is insane. Usually Chaos Shrine, it does this. You either get every encounter possible, or you just don't get any at all, and Yoshi's clearly going for the latter there. So I will describe the unrunnables as we meet them. But this is probably the worst one that you can get. Ooh, that's a wait. Can fire kill? Oh wow, this is Kib learning about the Black Mage route here as we do it. The Ice Gigases here have probably some of the highest HP in the Chaos Shrine, and they are weak to fire, but you have to do a very beefed up fire spell. And as the Black Mage there has got some lordly robes on, he's got a very high intelligence stat, which made that fire spell very powerful. Other routes will use a flare there to kill the Ice Gigases. I think there's probably a low roll chance with the fire spell there, but he did get it first try there, which is great. Also, despite not being unrunnable, probably the most feared encounter in the Chaos Shrine, the White Dragons here. You can run from them. It's not easy, and they do have an AoE ice attack. So if you run from them and everybody tries to run and no one manages it, there's a chance of getting 4 AoE ice storms on your party before you get another turn. Which is fun. All the fun, everyone loves them. We call them the Double Dragons after the most hated runner in the Final Fantasy 1 community. Purple Worm, also unrunnable. There was only one of them there, so he could just smack him with a Barbarian Sword. But you can also use a flare on those guys. I'm going to guess that probably a firer in this route, but I'm not sure. Let's see if Yoshi can make it 5 Iron Golems, because this is the floor where you have the very rare Iron Golem encounter. I don't think so, because he's just getting a god run there. As you may have noticed, because we went back in time 1,000 years, we are having to refight fiends who are a bit beefier, such as Lich here, who has the flare attack. Quite a lot of runners do a safety save before Lich because, as you can see, it packs a punch. The White Mage, who we were making fun of for having so much HP there, just the White Mage and the Warrior there survived. So thank God for high HP pools. Flare, by the way, is non-elemental, so the ribbons don't work on it. How's that work? Yeah, we're gonna go with they were more powerful 1,000 years ago, and they lost power by ruining the world. Something. Something. I don't know. Maybe they just got old. Marilith, however, not too bad. We can kill her with a couple of turns. And yeah, basically her fire spells aren't too terrible. As I mentioned, ribbon that we've got on 2 of our characters halves elemental damage, so any of the elemental attacks we don't really need to worry about. So welcome to the water floor. This is probably one of the more annoying floors in the Chaos Shrine, which Yoshi, again, is not going... Okay, there we go. Thank you for my commentator's curse finally working. The water elementals are unrunnable. They're not too bad. You just kind of chuck a blizzard spell at them because they're weak to ice. However, they do pop up quite a lot, so they can be annoying. Kib definitely didn't go anywhere, not at all. So, quick round from Kraken, who is just as much of a pushover as he was last time, to T-Man, who is, you know, okay, but nothing compared to the guy that we are going up against next. Welcome to Chaos, who is not only the title holder of our tournament, as he is Total Chaos, but he is also the reason that we do a majority of the detours we do, from going to get extra weapons and going to get extra spells. We get a couple of Giant's Tonics for this fight. You know, he's the final boss and he lives up to his name. So the first thing we're going to do is do some equipment glitching for the last time. Bearing in mind, there's no encounters on this floor, so we are free to set up. We're going to get some ribbons on both our mages. I think we, I don't know if we've got a Barbarian Sword on our Black Mage there. You'll have to see. I'm sorry, I was not paying attention. Gonna heal up and ether up so that everyone is at full HP and MP, because we are going to have both of our mages actually showing that they are useful here. And our thief finally coming into his own. If anyone was wondering why we have a thief rather than a warrior, you're about to find out. So first thing we're going to do, because neither of... Actually, no, sorry, our thief has got quite some good HP there. We're going to put a Giant's Tonic on our Black Mage, which increases his maximum HP by 200. So as long as we don't die in the first turn, yeah, we are going to be within safe HP ranges. And Chaos, very nicely, is just going to attack the warrior there. Oh yeah, don't look too closely at Chaos's anatomy, it will confuse you. It will definitely confuse you. So, Chaos being fairly kind here so far. Chaos can either do physical attacks, or he's got two magic casting rotations. The first one is mostly non-elemental damage, takes forever to cast, does lots of damage, you don't want to see that. Blaze, for example, first one there. And the second one is kind of faster, but leads up to his Curaja spell, which can heal him for half of his HP, and then he goes straight into haste, which basically makes him ridiculously strong. We saw that a couple of races ago, but it's quite rare. But when it happens, there's very little you can do about it. So the Black Mage here has hasted up everybody in his team, and made sure to do as much damage as possible. So the reason we got the ninja here is because the number of attacks that you do is affected by your agility. Ninjas naturally have very fast speed because they're ninjas. So if you put haste on them, then they do double again the number of attacks per round. So what he's doing there is 14 hits, which will do 2,200 damage, which is pretty nice. And that is a win for YoshiKyon. Kyon? I don't know how to say his name, I'm not gonna lie. With 128.28. That is a very respectable time. He can be very proud of that. So that is the second win of their best of 5. But not all over yet. As I mentioned before, third race between these two, and possibly the one to determine who's going through to the finals, is tomorrow. At the same time as it was today, which was about an hour and a half ago, for anyone who can't be bothered to work out time zones. But yeah, that was a really good run. I can find out if Yoshi wants to do an interview or just want to save it for tomorrow. Okay, so we're not having an interview here, but yep, as I mentioned, race number 3 tomorrow, and it's going to be a good one. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks, as usual, the wonderful Speed Gaming for hosting us and our entire tournament. And we're getting quite close to the end now. It's getting exciting. And thanks everyone for putting up with me and my shenanigans. Follow the runners. They're both amazing. We will see more of them tomorrow. And yeah, thanks everybody. And good night.